And welcome to Gordo Games here. So this is just going to be a very brief one. I know I'm midstream in that, so I'm going to clip all this, put it on my channel anyway. But I'm here with Tom, who played in last week's Cavern Tournament and ended up coming third place with his Ceresmon Green with his own little splash on it. His own little splash on it. So we're going to go through the details here, the choices why he made the deck as it is, the matchups he played, and generally just a bit of thoughts on how he'd look to improve the deck. So we'll let them. We'll go through the details now. I am joined by Will as well, who's on the server. He's just around for the conversations and that as well, so you might hear a bit back and forth between the lot of us. But let me just go ahead and do this.
But I basically had game,
Right.
but yeah, I didn't, and then I won the second.
We'll
But
come
then
back to your victories and your complete and utter losses in a. So, all right, Tom. So, congrats first and foremost because you came third overall. Well played. Um, what were your matchups? Who did you play?
ooh, ooh. First game, I can't remember people's names, but first matchup was Yellow Shine, I believe.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think we have some content for that one. Yes, and I think you did you go 2-0 in that? Was it 2-1?
No, 2-1. I rushed quite hard at the start of the game, which was weird doing that with green, but it worked. He managed to get me the first game, and then the second one, he managed to get three tamers out and get up to shine really quickly. And unfortunately, it just took me out and the game, and I couldn't build back up quick enough to save it.
Okay.
And the third game was essentially the same as the first. I got up, I got my board spanned really quickly, and just went in, and it didn't. It was quite a quick third game.
Okay. Okay. And what about your second one? You play. Oh, what was it again? I'm
Oh,
trying to remember. Who did you play? What did you play second there, Tom?
I played green.
Oh, the mirror.
I played oh, the Slovakian chap.
Oh, you played Lav.
That's it, Lav. Yeah. And yeah, it was oh, that. I think that was two nothing. Just both times I beat him. I got up to Ceresmon first, got control, and just essentially beat through him. Every time he got something out, just through him. Um, so I got lucky in that one again because again I got up to Ceresmon really quickly. I also managed to use Rusty quite well. I think it was that game. It might have been during Yellow as
I
well.
think it was you and
Um,
Yellow because I remember. I think we have some content for that because it was a case of the Yellow had a rise in that on board, but they couldn't keep it because you kept swinging into them.
yes, because I managed to get myself a Mimi out and a Rusty out, and was just going into his board using Rusty then to suspend something else. So whatever secondary stuff he'd have, I'd just then go into that, keep
Nice,
building, leaving him with like minimal memory.
nice.
Um, and then third matchup was the fun yellow red mix.
I thought
Uh,
that was fourth round, wasn't it? We played.
third,
That was your last match, remember?
oh, of course, it was 4 rounds.
Yeah. Who did you play otherwise? Did you not see any Imperial at all?
No, didn't see any Imperial. Um, I think I might have played another Shine then. Or, no.
So it was two shines and a Ceres, and then it was the two color control red yellow at the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, that control red yellow was.
That was a very
Uh,
interesting deck. Yes.
what colour did I? It was I played Shine. Then I played Lav with green.
Let's,
No.
let me see if I can find out for you. No, I can't find out. Yeah, I can. Let's have a quick look here for you. I mean, I've got it. More than likely got it somewhere, but
Yeah.
round three. He played Lav round three. He played Ceres. Oh, he played the Hawaiian guy with Red Omni, was it?
Yes. Red Omni. That was it. Yeah, because he gave me a real run for my money. I think he won the first game because he got to Omni and just I just couldn't build back up. I think he even got Alter S as well, and I just couldn't control it. And then in the second game, I managed to get board control as he was concentrating on building up to Omni in his on the
Raising
field
area.
as such. Yeah, instead of in the raising area, which would have been wiser. And I just capitalised on it and just controlled that board. But by the time I'd taken him all the way down and attacked through him, I had like a huge board and just went into him. First game though, he just was all over. I didn't stand a chance.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was just
So
generic.
you managed to take the game that should have been, well, generally most people consider a loss for green against the red. So that's nice to
Yeah,
see.
yeah. I was very, very, very happy about that one. I didn't expect to win it. As soon as I saw red on me, I was like, that's the gloves off. But no, it was. It was a surprising victory. I got him.
Nice, that's great. No, as I said, overall you played it very well. And obviously, going three wins, one draw overall in any tournament is a great result. Um, so if we go into your deck, then let's go for it. We'll start from the Digiegs. So you went with 4 Argonon and 1 Tanamon.
Yeah. The way I wanted to base the deck was more around using the eggs for the memory.
Mm.
So essentially, I wanted all of this to be about hitting into their stuff, and the memory would be just a nice little extra boost to help me on the way. So that's why I've kept the Digi Eggs as the memory booster rather than adding Stingmon in and adding Ken in, because I felt that 3 Tamers was probably just that one too many. Didn't need it. I needed to keep flowing with evolution. Um, the flower cannons were perfect. It was enough that I needed it when it was there, or I'd always have just one in my hand ready. But then things like the Lilymon works really well if I didn't have a flower cannon to hand. So hidden potential really was not that needed.
Yeah, I imagine being as a one of now, it's few and far between. It's just one of those. If it's there, you use it. If not,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, absolutely. It was good in one of the matchups because it let me. I think it was something. It might have been Mega Gargamon in one of the games. It just let me get up to Mega Gargo so I could suspend one of their big offense and then get something extra down, giving me technically 3 attacks at security for next turn. And that, I think it was something like an Argamon or a Goblimon. I think I was on 1 memory, played Hidden Potential, sent down Gargamon for nothing, and then had a Goblimon down after, put him on 1. He's then got 1 memory to try and stop me having 3 security checks. To me, it was quite a nice offensive attacking.
no, it makes sense. It makes sense. So rookies, then you've gone into for 16 rookies. Obviously, most people just play bulk out on all the vanillas like you have done there. But so you got two Tentamon. Obviously, the Terriermon I'm going to assume is there for the Ragnarlord matches.
It's more for for me personally, I put it in there for a deterrent on blue. Mainly for those hammer sparks. The amount of games where I've attacked into Rookie Rush and hit a hammer spark, and it's ended my turn a bit prematurely, where I've got game. Yeah, that was really my main reason for it. I didn't even think about Ragnar.
Well, there you go. You've accidentally countered something. Yeah, so basically it stops his effects and proc him because he technically goes down by 3, then gains 3 memory. So yeah, that does counter the Ragnar as well.
Like that's
And then what about the Tentamon? Did that pay off for you, or would you
yeah.
put something else in there, or was that doing its job?
Yeah, so at one point I got, I think it might have been when I had Rusty out. I was starting to attack into stuff, and they would just, one of my parents was just like throwing little weak rookie Digimon out just so that he could essentially go underneath of my big stuff and go into my security. So when I was able to then use Tentamon underneath something like a Rusty, and then suspend another Digimon. It was just another means of defence. It meant that even his rookies weren't safe. Anything weak on the board was cleared before it could grow into anything bigger.
Yeah, and I mean,
And then these vanillas were just great because they were just either a free Digivolution in the Raisin area or a cheap 2 cost to get me a download up to Sarah.
no, it makes
But to be
sense.
fair, up to anything. Any of the megas that I've got in here, they were all fairly relevant. I'd probably even said the least relevant of all of them probably have been Banshee. But at the same time, I don't think I would have done as well without him. Good. That piercing.
I mean, that piercing can, yeah, that wouldn't. Oh, sorry, that I mean that lost you games. My bad. No, that's fair. No, that's fair. I mean, with greens overall megas and that, yeah, I think it's quite scarcely put out there. Obviously, I know you've got the Rusty, which we'll get to the Rusty, and you can do the shout outs for him momentarily. Um, let's see what
It's
else we.
good. It's good.
No, no, I know.
Um,
I'm appreciating the one of tech with the Rusty. I'm seeing
yeah,
it quite a bit more now, just because of the fact if it takes care of things that Ceres isn't able to do.
absolutely. It's great if you've got a Mimi or just any tamer that's down. It doesn't matter as long as you've got a tamer out. Nothing on your opponent's board is safe, which basically stops them playing anything. They have literally got to just build up in raising until they can take out Rusty, which normally with playing green, when you're leaving them on 1-2 memory at most, it's great. Keep going into stuff or keep building your side up. If I'm attacking with Rust, and then I've got Argamon underneath, so every time I unsuspend, if they're trying to leave me on minimal memory, stuck on 2 memory, I at least know I can go a Gobblemon and an Argamon down next turn to give me 2 extra attacks.
Yeah, no, no.
Yeah,
So
it
nice,
almost
nice,
turns
nice.
into like a little version of almost Rookie Rush, but with the Tyrannomon doing the controlling.
No, it's a good way to play it. No, it seems to have worked out well for you as well. Obviously, with the level fours and that, you've gone slightly different to most. I mean, you've gone 3-3 splits on the Gargomon and Cobbleterrimon. Only
Yeah,
two of the Digisorption, 2 Woodmon and
yeah.
2 Vegemon. Give me some ideas. Why did you go with this ratio in the end?
So originally it was going to be a 3 Kabuterimon and 4 Gargamon, and we weren't going to have any Woodmon in, just because I didn't think I'd need the extra blockers. But then I had some very good advice from somebody not so far from this, essentially
We'll
saying
mention no names there.
we won't mention anybody specifically, but we'll reach out to I think his name was Hordos Hames or something like
Disclaimer.
that. And yeah, it was handy, especially with any kind of rookie attacks that were mounted. I don't think any more than 2 was needed. I think 2 was plenty. I don't even think really could have probably maybe gone to 1, but that'd be. The Vegemon were great. They just protected me against Alter-S. It also gave me a bit of a buff body that didn't cost me a lot. If I wanted to hard play him, he didn't cost me a lot. If I wanted to Digivolve him, it cost me a lot. So they were a good contribution towards just Digivolving up and getting to my big stuff. And even then, if I had big stuff out and I just needed another body that attack, an attack with a good kick, it was just great to be there. Argamon were there for no other reason the Ceres, which they did. It just gave me, instead of having just 5 well, I say 5, it's another 3 Ceres as well. So instead of having 8 options of Digisorption around 1 Ceres that's out, I've got 12. It gives me more targets to download off of my opponent. And then obviously buffed. So nice. I just thought a good split. It doesn't really matter for me. It didn't really matter which one I favoured more.
Yeah, I
Both.
think it just becomes the case of which one's more worthwhile because I guess Gargamon's is killable by a volcanic if you're playing against the
Yeah,
red matchup. So there's
yeah,
always that. But I mean, both of them technically die to an Alter S if it gets
Yeah,
DD down to it. So I guess it's just your real preference. If you want to be
yeah,
safe against a Volk and then and at least
yeah,
survive up until you can get to your 5 or 6.
yeah. Agreed. And it was handy because a lot of the time, if I had the option between a Gargamon and a Cabuterimon in my hand, I would opt to play the Cabuterimon, knowing that if it came to it later in the game, that the Gargamon would be slightly cheaper hard play if it came to it. It was very rare it came to it, but it meant some games where I was running out of hands or running out of stuff to do, and I just needed to use a bit of memory up. If I was on 4, had nothing really left to do, I could just go bam as a Gargamon stick 1.
No, makes sense. Makes
Um,
sense. So the
and then
lineup
with the Argamon,
itself put in work then.
yeah, the split was the best. I think, yeah, I definitely agree with going for the split. I wouldn't have done any more or any less of either.
Oh, that's fair.
Um, yeah,
And then level fives. Then this is the skeptical part because obviously everybody post ban, well pre-ban should I say, was running at just four Argonom, 4 Blossom, and it's now become a case of how do you fill the spots now that Argomon's now
yeah.
at one of.
So, of course, it's going to be Argamon for 1, Blossomon, you're going to get a full play set because you want Sarah's strength. Cherrymon is just an extra buff, an extra defense against their attacks. And it just held, sometimes when my opponent was coming in quite aggressively, it was just holding them off long enough. Cherrymon's got 7k, which handy because everything else, other than the Blossom, 6. So when I could have another 7k body, it did mean a lot different. My opponent would be playing 7k stuff, and a lot of the time they decide worth attacking in and getting rid of both of them. Or it just meant that it was also safe from safe from anything. It was a more stronger body out that my opponent was less likely to, especially with level 5. Lilymon was very clinch, very useful, simply because it offered the extra suspension. So if I had a Ceres out, use download on its ability, I could then attack into that Digimon that I've just suspended with Ceres, use Lilymon's ability, suspend something else, and then if I've got a second body out, that's also taken care of. Tentamon would then do the same if that was as well. And a lot of the time, the 3 of them would bounce together. And if I didn't have a Tentamon, I'd have a Lilymon. Needless to say, the Lilymon was more useful. I didn't really attack with any of these three. Didn't attack with Rapidmon. Didn't really attack with Lilymon because I didn't really want them to be gone. I needed the buffs from them. That's where the importance came. The Rapidmon was just there in case something big like a Ragnarlord came up and I didn't have anything excessive to go into it. I didn't have the Banchos. If I could get myself a Ceres or a Rusty, get myself a Gargamon and an Agumon. If I've then got, say, for example, Tentamon and a Lilymon of a Ceres, I can then attack in. I've got the buff from Gargamon, which could then, for every suspended Digimon, I'll get an extra K. Then you've got Lilymon and Tentamon suspended 2 of my opponent's other things. That's instant for 2k just from that one Digimon. So that jumps to 14, and then I've got the Agumon that if it was in there as well, and I've got the Tanamon. So it was not a card that was needed all the time, but it was extra attack force where needed,
No,
which was handy.
it seems like a pretty well diverse level 5 record. To be honest, gives you a lot of options where you need to be, which is good to see. And
Yeah,
then
I'd probably, if I had space, I definitely want to add a metal Tyrannomon, just simply because every opportunity I get, I've always seen my opponent fill their board with level 6, and there's well, not 8, there's like 4 of them out, and it's okay me being able to use Ceres to spend one and go into it. but then it leaves them with 3 big attackers. And if I'd had that metal, it would have been a great extra tech card, so that I could literally go Ceres and Lilymon, go. No, not Ceres and Lilymon, but say if it was Ranamon with a Mimi, stick metal underneath him and just go rustic that, and then restand into that, restand into that, restand into that, restand, wipe whole board in the process. It would have been essentially a Digivolution source of Dimension Scissor. I just saw moments where it could have been useful, especially in that last game where the guy was just playing essentially levels. It just would have been handy to have go Rusty, attack, now go attack that, then go. It just would have been really good and handy. So yeah, that would be my one change: get a metal somewhere, whether it's carrying out or rapid mon out. That's definitely.
And then what about your level 6 lineup then? We'll get to the most important part for you.
The most important part was probably we'll say Festival last. We'll go. Ceresmon was obviously the key card for this deck. It gave me Digivolution off my parents, gave me cheap Digivolutions, and let me control my parents' board. If I didn't have download options in my hand and I couldn't suspend my parents' stuff, it bounced off Flower Cannon, it bounced off Lilymon, it bounced off Tentamon, it bounced off of Mega Gargamon. Mega Gargamon was great for if I was left on 3 memory at a turn, my parent just got something big out, and I just think, I need to just get rid of that quick. I could get up to Mega Gargamon, suspend it, keep it pinned, and then just use Ceres next turn to go straight into it, or even use Bancho Sting. Bancho Sting with the piercing was great, especially with how much this deck spends. It just allowed me to either pierce through them, even if it wasn't the right time to do so. It allowed me to pierce into stuff. It let me get rid of anything a bit overly strong. So I think it might have got rid of an Omnimon at one point, which is always good, especially as strong as that. And then my favourite card, which I will always just where he doesn't work well with Ceres because he doesn't need bench. He can just attack anything as long as I've got those tamers out. But what he does do is the same as Lilymon and Tentamon, and that's when it destroys something else, it lets me suspend another Digimon. So if I've got Mimi, a Rusty, and a Ceres out, but I've got no sources to suspend, I can attack anything that's unsuspended with Rusty, attack the weakest thing on the field, clear it, then use Rusty's ability to rest the bigger thing, which then hopefully Ceres has then got all the buffs, and then get rid of that as well. So it really had a real big part of the deck. As much as it wasn't the key part, it was definitely the second biggest part of this deck, I would say, in terms of.
No, that sounds good. And then obviously you just got Bancho and the Mega Gargamon. How do they? Obviously Bancho, you said obviously came out in clutch against like an Omni 1 point. Did the Mega Gargamon come off very often, or?
Yeah. It was great at keeping stuff pinned, and that's all it needed to do, and it was good at it. It was always something that had to be in my hand for, like 5 to 10 turns before I'd even think about using it, and it was only when I would only ever use it if I knew that the following turn I could get up and get through it. There'd be no point in me playing it out to get it just knocked through the next turn. So it would be a case of if I could build up a stack, 2 stacks, go Mega Garga, hit some, keep it suspended, and then say if I had Rusty next turn or Ceres, go hidden potential discovered off of Gargamon, straight to Rusty, straight into it. It just worked really well. But I didn't need any more. I think 1 was enough, especially for the way things went down.
Mm-hmm.
Could potentially have been I could have probably been more aggressive with it and gone more for security. But with the way that this worked, I wanted to get this board, get my opponent's board, keep it clear, and then if it is clear, then I can go straight in, attack that,
No, it
attack that.
makes sense, and you kept it. You kept the same play style all the way through, which is good to hear. And I'm assuming obviously the options and that anything you change there, or are they basically the dream lineup for you? What you needed?
Flower cannon, no, they were perfect, exactly how they were. Mimi was perfect. I needed the two in there. I just needed to have one out, especially having Rusty in there. It was and having so many level threes because I wanted to be able to either hard play, get one up, keep that motion moving, or keep feeding them onto my field before my opponent's able to really stop them. Create essentially a flood of Digimon that I can spend and bounce off of and use all their abilities at the almost like a big wave, so that I had lots of different effects going off to make my opponent's moves more difficult. Hidden potential was good. It wasn't necessary all the time.
Do you think you'll keep it going forward, or would you think about
Yeah,
considering dropping it?
no, I would keep it. It does just allowed me to go up to just let me get a level 6 out in a tight spot. If I was ever like screwing on memory and I was thinking, and I had say, if I say I had zero, like I said earlier, I had zero memory, one memory, and I played it and got the Mega Gargamon out just so I could keep something pinned for a turn. So it's the same goes for Rusty. If I can use it, get Rusty up, but keep something down, suspend something else on my field so Rusty can go in for that quick attack that my opponent really hasn't got any defense, and then I can play an Argamon and leave them on one. It's a bit difficult to answer when your opponent's got to a level 6, destroyed something of yours, and then left you on one memory. There's a way of dealing with it. Doesn't give it, yeah, it's good. It was a good control card.
No.
Um,
Well, I mean, it
I
sounds like you obviously enjoyed the deck and piloted it to its basically how you pictured it to work out. I mean, honestly, mate, you played it well. I saw, I think, two of the games. I mean, like I said, the content is up on the channel as well. I did see two of the games to some extent. The very last one, which was the highlight game, um, that one will stay on there forever. Everybody can see that back. This by the way,
um,
for anybody that watches this profile will be named labelled as the guy who threw it away.
if it's not, I'll be disappointed.
But I mean, do you want to do any?
Yeah, that
Yeah, go on, mate.
you want go on.
I was going to say, does anybody want to do any shout outs for anybody that actually helped you build it, or anybody that helped you test, anybody that's actually had any input in the deck itself, or did you
No,
do this all solo?
no, definitely not alone. It was definitely yourself. Yeah, I've got to admit, as much as jumping up and down with her hand up in the air, yeah, Georgina was very handy. Georgina, my partner, just helped me test it, build it, get it balanced, give me an extra opinion when I was unsure. Gordo, you've been yeah, Georgina's kicked my ass a few times. Gordo, you've been really helpful with getting the balance, and just with general advice. So you've had a very big contribution.
Yeah,
The
my
group
my
as a
contribution
whole,
was kicking Tiger out of there because the waste.
the Rusty, you mean?
No, the Tiger. The Rusty was fine. The one of Rusty is fine. I'm happy with that. One or two of Rusty I can deal with, but Tiger generally is a terrible card.
It was good for 1.0. It was a very, very good card. It won me a lot of games.
Yeah, but you don't want to be hit. You
Um,
don't want to be hitting with a Rusty through one thing and then hitting an Omni or something. You want
that
like you've got now. Like we established, it was more of the control. Just clear the
yeah,
board and attack when you have the time to.
yeah, very true. Yeah, it was good at times when I needed to be aggressive, but a lot of the time that was the main issue the deck was facing, especially when I was playing 4 copies of Rusty. But I mean, I can't say too much because it was beating blue Omni, it was beating red Omni, it was beating yellow, it was beating other green decks. So it was consistent. It was not easy to pilot, and it was brick, but I think a lot of decks bricked in, especially how many cards we.
Yeah, it happens. It's always going to happen.
No, but I definitely would give a lot of credit to a lot of the guys in the group chat and that part of the Discord. They've all been big contributors and all put their 5 pence. This isn't working or this is quite strong. So no, I'm very chuffed with where the deck's got to, and hopefully next time I can pilot it slightly better. I won't attack the Salamon.
Well, we can always hope. We can always hope. So,
I've got no promises because as long as I just keep reading my cards, try and remember what they all. I think I should be. I think I might have got a little bit too attack friendly. Maybe I should have also